Let's bring you this conversation now. Recent cases involving police officers in suspected crime have left many people worried about the quality of policing in the country. In one incident, Limpopo residents were left shocked at the arrest of a police officer who's accused of killing 6 people for insurance claims. In a separate incident, 8 police officers were arrested and appeared in the Cape Town Magistrates Court for alleged extortion at 2 tiny shops in Milnerton. So today we're asking, which cases against the police can be investigated and where can the public go to lodge their complaints? And for that, let's bring in the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Spokesperson, Lizzy Suping, who joins us via our video link. Lizzy, great to have you on the platform. Thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. IPID, I think many people must have heard of, perhaps even in the news bulletins, whenever there's any other issue that involves the organization. But as a start, I think we should begin with context. What kind of cases can you investigate against police officers?
Thank you, Ayanda, and thanks and good morning to your viewers. We do investigate certain specified cases. In the Act, we have to investigate cases that include the death that occurs due to police action, death that occurs while a suspect is in custody, rape by police officers, whether they are on or off duty, corruption cases, the assault of civilians by police, as well as the discharge of an official firearm. Those are the types of cases that IPID has to investigate as per the Act of IPID.
Perhaps a shorter list would be what kind of cases can you not investigate? I'm struggling to think of instances, for example, where a police officer is accused of, some kind of misconduct and IPID wouldn't be able to look into that.
Like, we only investigate the ones that have been listed for now. Like the one that you are referring to, where there's this insurance case, it's been investigated by SABC and not by IPID. We are only mandated by the Act to investigate only those that I have listed.
All right, but you also listed corruption, if my memory serves, and this seems like a pretty corrupt act from where I'm standing.
Yes, but like I'm saying, remember, this woman was conducting she was insuring people so as to gain from the insurance claims. That matter is investigated by SABC itself. From our side, the ones that I've listed is what we investigate. The corruption here, it's where sometimes they get bribes or they are in cahoots with some of the alleged suspects.
All right, so perhaps corruption whilst at work perhaps is a better way of trying to frame it. Corruption whilst being a police officer. I see the distinction now. How easy is it to go after people who essentially are meant to be upholding the law? And I ask this question because, of course, in many instances, these people typically are aware of the police's strategies. Maybe in extreme cases, they're even in the room where, these plans are being devised. What kind of approach does IPID take to ensure that those individuals are also ultimately facing the full might of the law?
Okay, let me explain it in 2 ways. The first part is when there is an act of criminality or offense committed by the police, a case has to be opened at the police station, and the officers are mandated or expected by law to report their own to IPID. So after a case has been registered, they have to send the docket to IPID. The second part, you get complaints from the public where they indicate that they are battling to open cases at police stations because officers are not cooperative. We do have a platform where they can contact IPID directly, our toll-free number. And once they've called us, we do assist them to register the case, and then thereafter we do investigate the case.
Yeah, I hear that. But pardon me, it feels like my question is still largely unanswered. I'm asking more about approach to those investigations, if you're able to speak to us about that a bit more. I mean, how do you go about, for example, ensuring that as those investigations are continuing, people who are potential suspects, i.e. police officers, don't thwart any of that work?
Like I'm saying, they have to report their own. So if there's an arrest that has to be effected, we obviously have to follow the law and we have to arrest them from their work. Most of the time, we arrest them from their workplaces. Should they try and evade, we do follow up on them. And we also work with their if it's a junior official, we work with the supervisors. And also if it's senior officials, we work with the supervisors. So they have to report them. They have to report their own to IPID. If not, we do follow them even at their workplaces to go and arrest them. If we need to effect an arrest.
Right. Anecdotally, what kind of, I don't know, perhaps experience typically do police officers who have to arrest their colleagues report to you? I imagine something like that can't be easy.
Remember, the Act mandates them to do that, because if they don't, then the station commander or the superiors would have to then explain why they failed to do that, because the Act mandates them. Once a case has been registered with the police station, they have to refer the docket to IPID, and then IPID takes over the investigation. Because most of the time, remember, when an officer commits crime, IPID is not at the scene at the moment, but the officers are there. So they have to register that case and refer it to IPID. But sometimes we do hear complaints from the public to say that they found themselves at the receiving end of police brutality. We will definitely follow that up. Some of the cases we pick them up from the media. We do follow them up and ensure that they are registered with IPID and we investigate them.
And as IPID, do you feel well resourced to conduct these investigations thoroughly without any kind of delay?
If you look at our investigators, we don't have a huge number of investigators as opposed to the number of police stations that we have to investigate. Currently, we have around 164 investigators, and we've got more than 1,000 police stations that we have to investigate. However, we are trying our level best to ensure that we give priority to all the cases that we have and ensure that those that have to go to court are on their court rolls, and where the employer has to then discipline the official without the case having to go to court. We do refer recommendations or send recommendations to SABC and the Metropolis Department so that they can act against their own officials. However, most of our cases are on the court roll.
I suppose then the answer is no, you don't really feel well resourced.
I would not say we are fully resourced. Like I've just said, we've got 164 investigators currently, and we're working with more than 1,166 police stations, and you can imagine the number of officers per police station. So we are not fully resourced, but we are trying very hard to use the limited resources that we have to try and investigate the cases.
Fair enough. So how worried are you then that because of these shortfalls, you're not able to get around, frankly, to all the cases perhaps as quickly as you would have liked to?
We are trying very hard to ensure that we give priority to all the cases that we receive. And maybe I just need to indicate that there is an amended act that's coming into place. It has been signed, the bill has been signed into law. And some of the cases like your assault common, which is one of our case drivers, will then not be investigated by IPID, but will be investigating assault GBH once that the act has been proclaimed. So we will be able to do our work. Yes, we are under-resourced, but we are trying so hard to ensure that we do due diligence in terms of our work.
All right, Lizzy Suping, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. It's sometimes, I think, an issue that doesn't get enough time on the airways, so to speak. Lizzy Suping is the spokesperson for IPID. That, of course, is the police watchdog.